and welcome. This is Business Equity and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. Today, September 7th, is a very important day for those of us who work in broadcasting. This day, 1927, Philo Farnsworth successfully demonstrated the first electronic television transmission. Same year, he got the first patent for the television, innovated a functioning television system, and manufactured it through the Farnsworth Television and Radio Corporation of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Farnsworth was a true 20th century entrepreneur and would go on to pioneer innovations in nuclear fusion technology too. His road, perhaps like yours, all started with an idea and a small business plan. So it's our hope to inspire each of you to take your next ideas to the next level and see where they can take you. Our goal is to provide you with information and resources to develop skills you'll need to help start and run a successful business. Information that comes from business owners, community leaders, and educators who join us to share their experiences and their insights. Every week we feature 7 segments covering important topics that are critical to starting and running a successful small business, all designed to inform, inspire, and empower. You can watch the show on Wish TV or live streaming through wishtv.com. You can also access all of our content and share it on demand anytime at beoshow.com. Visit that site often for updates, resources, new segments, and sign up for our newsletter as well. Coming up today on Business Equity and Opportunity. A look at the upcoming TechPoint Venture Connect event. Emil Ekiyor previews the speaker lineup for Rally. Insights on AI and its uses for small businesses. How to protect your company's trade secrets. We take the show to the races with a visit to Hoosier Park. And the remarkable career of Rickie Clark, founder of Diversity Focus Today. When Ball State senior Jack Beebe's not hitting the books or on the football field, he's creating designs for his custom rug making business, Foot Stompers. You might say that his brand is taking this young entrepreneur across the goal line.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Getting started.
My name is Jack Beebe. I'm a senior linebacker here at Ball State. I'm getting my MBA degree, and I make rugs for fun. And on Instagram, you can find me at Foot Stompers. Seems like it's a lot all day, every day, but yeah, I mean, we're in the middle of the season right now. This is my 5th year, so I'm pretty used to being here all day. I love it here with my friends every day, getting better at football with great coaches. No place I'd rather be. I love Muncie, and I love this space, really. Man, I just love the camaraderie with my friends, honestly. Like, there's nothing like the locker room, I would say. Like, it's a place that not a lot of people get experience, but it's a cool place to be, and then taking it out to the football field and getting to hit people and, you know, learn new things, stuff like that. It's awesome. So, I mean, I feel like the first thing is time management and discipline. I mean, we get to be here at certain times. If you're late, you're in trouble and stuff like that. So definitely the discipline to continue working when others aren't watching, and being at the Division I level, it's hard to be here, and so not everyone gets this opportunity. So being able to manage, you know, football, extracurriculars, class, stuff like that. It's tough, but, you know, there's nowhere I'd rather be, so yeah. Honestly, I was just on YouTube, and I was like, this was kind of like a cool thing to do for fun. And so I had my stepdad build me a frame, and got started from there. It was just mostly for fun at first, and then it kind of took off to something just a little bit bigger than that. So yeah, most of the orders, I would say, are all requests, you know, like, I started out making them for my family because they didn't really care. They would support me regardless if it was good or bad, and the first ones were bad. But they were like my dad's logo for his gym, and my mom wanted like a leaf because she like loves plants and stuff like that. And then some of my buddies wanted like a grape because that's like what their nickname for their house is and stuff like that. So it kind of just started, guys had they liked something, and I was like, yeah, send me a picture, and then I'll put it on the frame and try to make it as best as I can into a rug. So it started out just pretty small like that, but it was cool. Instagram helped me a lot. That's where I do most of like my posting, I could say, and people see it on there like, oh, I want one, they DM me, and that's usually how it goes. So probably like supply and demand, honestly. It's a weird place to be because the supply is so low, and then finding the price point for the, you know, there's a decent amount of demand, and it kind of seems pretty constant. So it seems like people always want a rug, whether it's like on friends, family, random people that I've never met before. So trying to navigate, that price point with like how much, the goods cost, and then also my time, honestly, because I don't want to be working for nothing, when I have other things I'd rather be doing sometimes, like I'm tired after football. Some days I just don't want to make rugs, but I know I have to because I have to fulfill this order. So yeah, there's a lot of things you can learn from that. I gotta go to the store, I gotta, pay for gas to go to the store, stuff like that. Yarn, materials, shipping, like people don't see a lot of that stuff, and so yeah, it kind of gets factored into how you manage, price and supply and demand, I'd say. One of my first MBA classes last fall, it was like create a business, blah, 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 blah. And so most people, would just make up a random one and just get the grade. And I was like, let's actually like put some effort into it. So I actually made this business model. I was like, all right, here's what I'm gonna do, blah, 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 blah. It was good for the concept, but like the pricing kind of, you figure that out as you go, and you can't really just put on a piece of paper and just expect that to be the way it goes. So yeah, I actually did do it for a class. It was pretty cool. I've been thinking about that a lot recently, especially with my time coming to an end here at Ball State in just a few months, and what that looks like for me. I don't think it's right now sustainable to go full time. We'll see, maybe it is, maybe it's not. I haven't really given it my full undivided, attention and effort. But yeah, I've been looking to see what it would be like to scale. I have my friend Eli Holt helping me out right now, which is pretty cool. And I have my other buddy Cole Earlywine who might join, help me out a little bit as well. So we'll see where it goes from here. But I don't know what the future holds really right now. I'm just taking it day by day. Honestly, like fulfilling people's orders and making them like their dreams come into reality with like the rugs are pretty cool to see. Whether it's like, I just got like this Tennessee rug, and like, I don't really like Tennessee or Tennessee baseball, but this guy loves it. And so like for him to be happy about that, like it makes my day because I made their day. And so that's pretty cool. Also just meeting like cool people is pretty cool, like Riley Leonard and some of the Bustin' with the Boys people, and like John Gruden seeing my video, stuff like that. It's cool to see and meet those people and build those connections for, life outside of, rugs or football. And so
We'll have contact information for Foot Stompers on our website, beoshow.com. Up next this hour, our Access to Capital segment takes a look at how TechPoint is connecting startups to capital through the upcoming Venture Connect event. Welcome again to Business Equity and Opportunities. Each year, TechPoint connects venture capital and investment firms from across the country with startups in Indiana. Ting Gootee is the president and CEO of TechPoint. She explains why they do it and shares some results.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Access to capital.
You mentioned the word small business and investors, and I want to take the opportunity to delineate a little bit about why we've got two economic engines going on in our community, and it's really fueling one economy. When we talk about entrepreneurship, typically people come into their mind of the startups, right? Those are the ones who get the news headlines, including yours. And that's really kind of a high growth engine, creating the new products and services, and then tend to get investor interest and attract the type of talent, innovation, and capital to our state, and really also sets our community up for a globally competitive stage. That's the event we're hosting, connecting investors with startups. We have 50 startups, all innovation-driven, high-growth startups sign up, as well as meeting with 25 investors. On the other side of the spectrum is what we call the small business, and those are the type of that could go anywhere between a mom-and-pop coffee shop to a construction company or manufacturing in our state. Believe it or not, Indiana, over 99% of our business establishments are quantified as small business. Those tend to have less than 500 employees or less than $50 million in revenue. they are really the backbone of our economy. They're the ones who employ over 40% of the workforce, and they're really building our neighborhood. They're the ones who keep our place live and vibrant, that's feeding our community. Both are important. Indiana is championing both, and we're thrilled to play a role in terms of venture startups, but also supporting small business and entrepreneurship in general. In the venture startup space in particular, capital is a very important indicator where how healthy in terms of our venture community is. I'll give you a soundbite in terms of a national trend. I mean, from 2010, we all know, most of us are old enough to have gone through the financial crisis. That's where the capital market really dried up, literally overnight. And that happened in 2008 to 2009. As a result, 2010, nationally, the $21 billion invested in terms of venture capital dollars across the board. Fast forward, then since then, it's been in a steady increase. Fast forward 2022 is a high water mark. 12 years later, across the United States, $330 billion compared to $22 billion in 2010. That's more than tenfold increase. That's really kind of created the vibrant startup community, the type of innovation that's coming to market. A lot of it is enabled by the capital activity, investment activity is happening at very rapid growth. In the start of 2023 post-COVID, 2023, 2024, start to see a little bit calming down, a little bit decrease compared to the prior years. In the midst of that, not only the capital stack, but also the technology change. Not surprisingly, a lot of startups now are getting funded or have AI spin, right? AI is in a lot of our daily lives now. So much around the generative AI or chat GPT capabilities. Fast forward today, this year so far, $197 billion invested in the US so far this year in venture capital. Over 64% are invested in AI startups. So not only the type of capital, the capital stack that's happening, but the type of startups that capitals are chasing after. To give you a little more, even more specific analysis, $197 billion invested in the US so far, 41% of that, $179 billion went to the only top 10 startups. The amount of capital concentration is happening that we have never seen in history before. Out of the top 10 startups received the 41%, 8 are AI companies, including OpenAI, the company that's behind ChatGPT, raised $40 billion alone. That's the largest funding round in history. What does that mean for Indiana startups? I would say with the use of technologies, particularly around AI, the hurdle of becoming entrepreneurs are lower. But to your comment earlier, the hurdle becomes successful, scalable entrepreneurs are higher. Because now you're competing with the likes of OpenAI or other offshoots. They're able to raise massive amount of capital. How do you distribute and protect your position and grow in a sustainable manner? It's a topic of it's a hot topic conversation these days. And I also say our universities are nowadays taking a lot more intentional strategy and opening that door into the talent space, right? Eli Lilly's recent STEM investment strategy directly with university, that's actually very innovative. Because universities, they have their own specific pathways and curriculum they're teaching, but they're getting a lot more responsive in terms of what industry actually needs from a skill set perspectives. AI skills is obviously number one skills everybody's looking for these days. We will argue that everybody needs to learn an element of AI, regardless of industry or the company sizes you're in. So we're seeing a lot of education providers and leaders, K-12 all the way through higher ed, that are actively taking that industry demand into consideration, really open their doors and pathways for learning to be successful. I would not say 2 or 3 things, I would say 1 thing, use of technology. Absolutely, that's the number one leverage that any kind of business, whether you're a solo shop or a Fortune 10 companies, that can absolutely leverage to make yourself and products as more competitive, make your operations more efficient, making productivity growth. In fact, Eli Lilly and Company, a longtime community anchor, actually has its own humble entrepreneur journey, right? 100 plus years ago was founded by an Indiana-based entrepreneur. Now it's the world's largest medicine company. also just recently become the most AI-ready medicine company in the world. So if my argument is Lilly can do it, anybody at that scale, anybody should be able to do it. So I will encourage everyone, whether you're a small business owner or a learner, to learn a little bit about how to use technology to make your business better.
TechPoint is now accepting submissions for its annual Mira Awards coming up next spring. Billed as Indiana's biggest night for tech and innovation, they're looking for tech and tech-enabled organizations and individuals who are making an impact in the communities and across the state. We'll have more information on our website. Coming up this hour, highlights on the speakers who are coming to Rally this month.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome again. InnoPower is a co-host of this year's Rally Innovation Conference. Emil Ekiyor founded InnoPower and promises an impressive speaker lineup.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. This Week in Business.
So again, we have Rally. I think we are about 3 weeks and 4 days away from Rally, the largest cross-sector innovation conference in the country. This is our 3rd year of Rally. Well, I'm really excited. I mean, we have some amazing speakers like we've done in the past. We had Magic Johnson as a keynote. We had Alex Rodriguez last year as a keynote. We have Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank as the keynote this year. So really excited to see him and just his straight up rawness, meaning it's to the point, he gives it to you the way he thinks about it. But I'm very excited about Segun Otulona. Segun is actually Nigerian born. He actually started his company in Birmingham, Alabama, sold it for $1.25 billion in 2021. Loves entrepreneurship, loves training entrepreneurs. So he'll be right here in Indy, and we can't wait to meet him. We have a lot of small business owners that are gonna meet with him. So those are the kind of people that are coming in town that we're just so excited about. Anytime you have an idea, right? I have an idea of something. Going from idea to exit, right? And meeting people who have actually done that. To say I started out, I wasn't born in wealth. I came to this country at a young age, had this idea to build this company. I built the company and then I sold the company for $1.2 billion. When you can sit down with people like that, you learn so much because they've been through it. They started from zero. They had an idea on paper. They took that idea from idea and now they sold the company for $1.25 billion. So just sitting down with people like that, I've just learned in my time that you just get so many gems, so many things you learn just listening to them talk about their journey. Because the light comes on for you, right? Because everything they're saying, you're probably going through it now as well. As we talk about all of these people coming in town, we want to make sure that cost is not a barrier, right? So we have college students that we know sometimes just don't have money. So JP Morgan Chase has stepped up to say we're going to get 200 college students in for free. We have other companies that are stepping up to say, you know what, if you're a business owner and you're $100,000 or less in revenue, we can give you access into Rally. And we don't care where you're from. You can be from Evansville or Gary, Indiana, right? Wherever you're from in Indiana, you want to come to Rally because you're thinking of something, you have an idea, you want to build your social capital, you want to learn some new things. We're saying this is the space, especially today in 2025. There's so much happening, right? From a technology standpoint, just from the world we live in spaces like Rally, you get a chance to learn so much. But the biggest thing, you get a chance to meet people, right? People that you don't see every day. Again, the connections that have been made, right? And I saw this firsthand. Last year, we saw small business owners come into Rally, didn't have social capital, but left with some great connections with people they're still engaged with today, right? And in our city, we have a growing city, right? Indianapolis and Central Indiana is growing at a rapid rate. So the timing today to really get a chance to engage people, if you're a professional, you're trying to further yourself, then this is the place to be to meet people. If you're a small business owner, if you're a business owner, you're trying to share your idea, right? Do I have the right idea? right? I'm thinking about doing this. Am I thinking about this the right way? Then you need to be in that space at Rally. And what I love about the space is, again, you can see the investor who's invested. Last year I saw people like Christian Anderson. Christian Anderson is one of the founders of High Alpha. I saw him in the hallways of Rally sitting down, having conversations with just small business owners, right? Those are the kind of connections that we need to see happen, and we love seeing happen at Rally. When you have such a great stage as Rally, right? So we have investors, some of our best and brightest companies are gonna be there. People from all over the world are coming. We want to be able to showcase our local talent, right? We want to be able to showcase that, you know what? In the state of Indiana, we have some amazing talent that a stage like Rally gives us the opportunity to showcase. So we created the Rising Stars and the Innovators Awards. So the Rising Stars are people that you don't know yet, right? Sometimes we see awards and the awards go to the same people, right? We're like, okay, the same person just got another award. But there's so many people that are doing amazing work that we want to be able to leverage this stage to showcase them, tell them, hey, look, we see you, we see what you're doing. And the whole world, you better watch out for this person, because in the next 4 or 5 years, they're going to be doing amazing things. But then we also have innovators, people who are just doing things differently. Not necessarily about technology. If you work for a nonprofit, are you solving problems in a different way? If you're an educator, you delivering instruction in a different way and getting great results. If you're a business owner and you just come up with a new way of delivering your product, right? We want to recognize innovators, right? The best ideas, people who are thinking about things differently. We want to create an environment to celebrate them at Rally as well. So we have Rising Stars and Innovators. We're going to recognize 10 Rising Stars and 8 Innovators on the big stage of Rally in front of all of their peers. But we've also seen this. When you do that for young professionals or young business owners, it takes them to another level. Their confidence, the people that recognize them. So you no longer have cold calls. Because when you call somebody, they say, look, I saw your stage at Rally, or I saw you on the Indianapolis Recorder, or I saw you on Wish TV getting recognized, right? And that's what we want to do. We want to leverage our stage to uplift as many people as possible. So for our innovators, we just saw it was so hard for the committee to select 8, right? And it was so good to see so many people doing amazing things around the state, right? Amazing, amazing things, right? We saw a founder in Evansville who created a technology for aquaponics. Unbelievable. We see young people in Gary, Indiana, who started a new way of training and developing entrepreneurs that's changing their community in Gary, right? Unbelievable. So getting a chance, for me, was getting a chance to see all of these amazing people and trying to say, how do I get them all on my team, right? But really seeing that was just energizing. But the hardest thing was selecting the winners, right? And I wouldn't say the winners, because everyone that was nominated was a winner, but just selecting the people that are going to be recognized on stage. We have an issue, we lose so much talent out of our state, right? And a lot of times I say, because we don't celebrate the ones we have, right? So today you were seeing more of that, more awards, 20 over 20, 30 under 30, 40 under 40. And in this case is the InnoPower Rising Stars at Rally, InnoPower Innovators at Rally, and a big shout out to our sponsors. Bose McKinney Law Firm sponsored the Rising Stars, and then Cummins sponsors our Innovators Awards. So we have 2 major entities in our city that stepped up to say, you know what, we want to celebrate our up and coming talent. We also want some of those up and coming talent to come work for us one day. So thank you to Bose McKinney, and thank you for Cummins for sponsoring the awards.
Rally is coming up September 24th, 25th at the Indiana Convention Center. We'll be there to bring you highlights. If you're there, join us in the Media Village, located in the exhibit hall. We'd love to say hi. Coming up this hour, some wise words about artificial intelligence and small business.
This Week in Business is made possible by Indy Biz Pass. This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome again. As Executive Director of Blazing Academy, John Qualls is on a mission to make artificial intelligence accessible to everyone. He shares some tips and insights on how AI can be a bigger part of your small business.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities, Accounting and Bookkeeping.
Yeah, John Qualls, Executive Director at Blazing Academy, and we're focused on AI literacy in kind of underserved and Main Street America. You know, I grew up here in Indianapolis. I went into the Marine Corps, and when I went into the Marine Corps, I learned a little bit about computers only because I knew how to type. And that began a journey of, I want to say at least maybe 7 or 8 startup organizations that I've been a part of, all in kind of technology. So as I got out of the military, I came back here, and I've been involved in technology ever since. First, I wish I would have had this when I was younger. The tools that you can do and what you can do with it is amazing. You know, I think a lot of times people think that maybe they've missed the boat on this AI, but it's actually a lot earlier than you think. I was talking to someone the other day, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're really doing a lot." And I find out they're using Grammarly, and I'm kind of like, "Well, there's a lot more than just that." So I just think we're on the really front end of people understanding a tool set that's really going to unleash a tremendous amount of productivity and creativity. It's still early, but I think it's really important, the AI literacy piece, right, to really understand what can and can't be done with it today. It's not just leveling the playing field, but it's allowing them to really amplify. You know, like someone says, I feel like I can be 8 people now. And if you know anything about starting a company, you always feel like 8 people. But boy, it'd be nice to have some tools to feel like I can actually be as effective as 8 people. You know, a lot of times I say, well, we'll teach prompt engineering, and people want to say, wait a minute, engineering, I'm not a technologist. And I say, I wish I'd just call it prompt crafting, but it's the art of asking a really good question. And I think that's universal for any business. And as business owners, at the end of the day, you're constantly have questions. We do a lot to try to help you understand. Just have a conversation, and I think that's the really breakthrough. Is that you could just have you don't have to be technical. Just have a conversation with what your, the context of and your intention, and its interaction. It kind of almost feels like magic sometimes. It is so rewarding to watch them uncover what can be done. A lot of times they just didn't know what they didn't know. I think things at times are still very early. I think 98% of people still use the tool like a Google prompt, like it's only 4 or 5 words. And so we really teach them how to actually do work with it. If you talk about just the human capital supply chain, you have the boomers that are moving out of the workforce at 10,000 a day, and you've got young people coming into the workforce at about 3,500 a day. So that means that about every 30 days we lose in the workforce St. Louis, right? If you just want to think about it from a number standpoint. And that supply chain change is creating a tremendous amount of pressure and opportunity, right, in that piece. The other thing is, I think at the end of it, everyone's just trying to get more done with less, right? We're just, with inflation and everything else, it's like, how can I get more done with less? And if we can show you how to spend $20 and get $1,000 of value, that just feels like something to understand. You know, I will say at least 2 or 3 times a week, I'll be somewhere, and someone will walk up and say, hey, I went to one of your sessions, it changed my life. It literally just happened last week, and I was like, I don't think it was me, but I'm really excited that we were able to open that opportunity for you. And that's the part I can't, every time, this is really hard to do, by the way. It's really hard work. And every time I think, and then something like that happens, and I'm back, and we're back to doing what we do. So.
For more information, visit our site. Just follow the QR code on your screen now. Coming up, Angela B. Freeman has tips on how to protect your company's trade secrets. Important information, so don't go away.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome again. Question worth asking. Do you know if your trade secrets are properly protected? Angela B. Freeman helps identify what qualifies as a secret and recommends some steps to make sure you can keep them safe.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Running your business day to day.
So I'm Angela Freeman. I'm a partner and IP and patent attorney at Barnes & Thornburg. And today we're going to talk about trade secrets. Previously, we've talked about trademarks, we talked about copyrights, and we talked about patents. Today I'm going to talk about trade secrets, and I'm going to talk about that as a counter or a comparison to patents, which we talked about previously. Many people think about protecting an invention, a new business model, a new asset by patents, and that's absolutely one way to protect a new invention. Another way is to keep it a trade secret or to keep it secret. And there are great benefits, pros and cons to both of those, and I want to talk about that today. So I did not mention, but will mention, a patent is for a term of 20 years. Once it goes off patent, it's free for the public to use and do whatever they want. So think about your drugs that are on patent that then go off patent, and immediately you've got the generic. That is the effect of what a patent can do. But the beauty of a trade secret is, beyond those 20 years, a trade secret can truly last forever, ever, amen. Think about the recipe to Coca-Cola, think about the KFC recipe. All those things have been kept secret for years and years, well beyond 20 years. But the issue is they have to be kept secret. If they are reverse engineered, meaning someone just happens to figure out how you do it, you lose protection and there's no recourse for that. Now, on the counter, if someone actually steals a trade secret, they come into your business and they steal secrets, then you have a right to enforce that, enforce protection and therefore sue them for infringement and otherwise. But you have to protect it. So the beautiful thing about trade secrets compared to patent is they're typically way, way less expensive to protect because you don't have to go through all the finances of getting a patent prosecuted. But you also have to enforce or implement internal and external measures to make sure that that trade secret is protected. Oftentimes that looks like making sure that not a single person knows the full trade secret, that maybe multiple people in the business know a small portion of the secret such that all of them together are required to know the full trade secret. Putting in basic computer logins, passwords, timed out things that don't allow you to be in certain databases too long. Or also exit interviews. When people leave, I see so often large businesses who just allow some of their major inventors to just walk out the door. They never make sure they get their USB drives and get their downloads and make sure that they're checking to make sure no one's walking out the door with their trade secrets. That's very important. So a trade secret can truly be anything, but again, anything can be protected. What you really want to spend your time protecting are the things that will negatively affect your business. So things like customer lists, vendor partners, recipes. If you're a restaurant, you want to keep your recipe secret. That's a secret. Anything. A trade secret can truly be anything that adds value to your business or anything you would not want a competitor to know because it would give them a competitive advantage on your business. And again, that can truly be anything. So when you're thinking about what may I need to protect via trade secret, think about all the things you wouldn't want a competitor to know about your business. Pricing, again, vendors, suppliers, partners, those kind of things. Those are the things that I would suggest you consider protecting via trade secret. Non-disclosure agreements are important in all of these aspects. I talked about it with patent, that you shouldn't be talking about a new invention without getting an NDA signed. And similarly, if you're going out and talking to potential partners or potential investors, when we're talking about small business owners, that's a huge deal for investors. making sure that when you're talking to these investors, they have signed a non-disclosure agreement. And I know for many small business owners, that is very uncomfortable. They don't want to ask people, particularly larger entities, to sign a non-disclosure because that may shoo them off or not make them interested. But if you want to protect your company asset, it is critical to make sure that as you're disclosing things, you have at least the protection that someone has signed a non-disclosure or confidentiality agreement.
When we come back, we head to Anderson to peek inside the multi-million-dollar racing industry. And coming up later,
what I try to do is educate them prior to. That's why we constantly on the podcast talk about voting. Vote. If you're not registered, please register to vote. Don't wait till the last minute, and then know what's going on. Know what's happening in your neighborhood, in your community, in your city, your state, and your country.
Running your business day to day is made possible by Indy Chamber.
welcome again to Business Equity and Opportunities. Parimutuel wagering became legal in Indiana back in 1989. Then 1994, Hoosier Park was the first track to open in the state, and to this day, it's where you can see many of the top trotters in the country.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Industry Focus.
So I'm Jacob Rheinheimer. I'm the race marketing manager and racing analyst here at Harrah's Hoosier Park, and we're at Harrah's Hoosier Park Raceman Casino. Yeah, I grew up here. My family's involved in the sport of harness racing, as I said, so I absolutely kind of born and raised in the sport, wanted to make it my career, so glad to be able to work here. And as I said, this place has a rich history. Just celebrated our 31st anniversary this past Labor Day weekend of live horse racing here at Hoosier Park. So this is a really special place, especially the first parimutuel track here in the state of Indiana to still be going strong here in 2025. It's pretty great. Absolutely. I mean, horse racing itself, both standardbreds, thoroughbreds, and quarter horses, it's a $2 billion a year industry here in the state of Indiana alone. So there's so much more that goes into, 10 horses on a racetrack out there each and every night. There's so many people behind it, vets, feed companies, and so on and so forth. People like me working here at the track here at Hoosier Park. So to be able to still be going strong, as you said, yes, it's a lot of money put into horse racing, but the sport as a whole just gives so much back. Absolutely. It's free to come here to Hoosier Park, and it's a family-friendly environment here on the horse racing side of the property. That's something we really want to stress to folks. You can bring out the whole family. There's something to do for everyone. Every weekend we have live music. We've got family fun activities at the end of each month. So this is a place where it's something for everyone. And as you said, we're still going all the way until the end of November, so we still have a lot of action. Yeah, well, Indiana as a program, it's really gone from the bottom to the top in this industry, where we are producing some of the very best standardbreds in all of North America. In fact, we just had a horse, Sabonis, come back here to Indiana. He just won our Dan Patch Stakes, and we're hoping to have him back on Caesar Striding Classic night and our Hoosier Park Pace and Derby. Stream, she's a world champion, one of the very best, and she was born and raised right here in the state of Indiana. So the quality of racing is the best you're going to find pretty much anywhere at all of North America. Yeah, the Caesar Striding Classic, I always say Dan Patch is our biggest race, but Caesar Striding Classic night is our biggest day of racing, really from start to finish. We're going to have 8 Grand Circuit events, over $1.2 million in purse money on the line over the course of the 15 race card, and it's all highlighted by that Caesar Striding Classic. That's really the trotting counterpart to the Dan Patch, where we're going to have 10 to 11 of the very best trotters in all of North America make their way to Anderson, Indiana. It's a really cool event. We've seen some great horses over the years here at Hoosier Park, and should be another great addition this year. Absolutely. We want to get you as close as we possibly can. That's first and foremost. If you're coming out here with your family, you want to track either me down or my race marketing admin, Taylor Owen, because we're going to get you in that starting car as close to racing as you possibly can get. It's a totally different perspective when you actually get to look back at the horses face to face with them when they're all on gate and see just how fast they're going and get to see the action that close. It's a really unbelievable thing, so be sure to track us down if you make it out here to Hoosier Park. Yeah, I mean, every night there's one race that just kind of captures their imagination out there, whether it's an incredible finish or maybe you make a little bit of money on it. That's what we try to do from time to time out here, but there's always going to be something that's coming back, and every night's so different. We have 14 races a night out here. You're going to be able to find something over the course of the evening that you really like and enjoy, and it's something that once you get hooked on horse racing, you really can't get off it.
Caesar's Trotting Classic for trotters 3 and older is coming up September 19th at Harrah's Hoosier Park. If you'd like to know more about it or any of today's segments, follow the QR code to our website. Up next, a conversation with the founder of Diversity Focus Today, Rickie Clark. This is Business Equity and Opportunities. The hour is drawing to a close, but first a success story. His name is Rickie Clark. He has more than 40 years experience in media, spanning radio, magazine publishing, now podcasting with his popular Diversity Focus Today. He took time out from his pod to share his thoughts and why he believes it's so important to offer his guests a platform to voice opinions on current events.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Success Story.
Well, I created a magazine several years ago called Diversity Focus Today, which was a spinoff of another magazine I had called the Indiana Minority Business Magazine and the Indiana Minority Business Directory. And we also have one that folks probably don't know that I created in the publisher called Indiana Parenting, because I very seldom have my face in that particular magazine. When I came on the police department, in 1976, 77, I basically had to kind of educate them as well about diversity and minorities and so on, what have you. The good thing about that at that particular time, we had a mayor that was pushing diversity himself and came to me, Mayor Hudnut at the time, and said, we need more minorities on the police department and on the fire department. And I know you've got a history of doing that in radio. What can you do to help us? And so with the mayor behind me, then I started creating different programs, and I must admit some of the officers did not like it. And I wouldn't get any Christmas cards from some of them because of what I was doing, but you know, I was doing the right thing. Plus, you know, the leader of the city, the mayor of Indianapolis, Mayor Hudnut, said this is what he wanted to get done. So that's how we started on that. Well, it's important because we have to be educated on what's going on. And one of the biggest concerns I've seen throughout history is people don't read, so they don't know what's going on, and they wait till after something has occurred, and then they say, well, I didn't know that. If I'd have known that, I would have did this or did that. Well, what I try to do is educate them prior to. That's why we constantly, on the podcast, talk about voting. Vote. If you're not registered, please register to vote. You know, don't wait till the last minute, and then know what's going on. Know what's happening in your neighborhood, in your community, in your city, your state, and in your country. That way, it won't be a surprise, and you too can change things. Folks, my vote doesn't count. Yes, it does. That burns me up inside and out when folks tell me, my vote doesn't count. Yes, it does. And then you have to explain to them why their vote counts. And once you explain it to them, oh, okay, well, I didn't look at it that way. Oh, yeah, that's what you got to look at. And that's the way to do it. So I incorporated that, what I learned in school, and then what I learned in the police department, and then as being a detective, you know, the facial features, the tones, and that sort of thing into that. And so, once again, this is something that I kind of like share with other people. Well, because I've had that question, well, how do I know that they're lying? They could be lying. Everybody's lying. Well, these are the way and things that you look at and see, and you question them. You know, if they're telling you the truth, they're not gonna backstep. I mean, you can go forward and then take them back, and they're gonna basically say the same thing they told you 5 minutes ago that they're telling you right now. But if they're lying, their story's gonna go all kind of ways, completely mixed up. I've learned that there's a lot of unsettlement right now, or unsettling, within our community. There's a lot of folks that don't like what's going on, and are very surprised that it's going on. Believe what people tell you. If they tell you something, believe it. And so people have told us as citizens different things, that this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it. But for some reason, a lot of us didn't believe that or didn't pay any attention. And then when things that are happening right now, which are now happening, they say, well, I didn't know he was going to do that, or I didn't know she was going to do that. Well, yeah, they told you. Well, I just didn't believe it. Now I believe it. My family, the smiles on their faces, I would say my associates, people that I work with, our team on our program, Diversity Focus Today. We've got an excellent team. We've got a doctor, Dr. T, we call her, and then we got Mike, who's our attorney that works on the show. Myself, we got our great engineer in Alan, our producer, and we've got our web designer and technician, Brian Wallace. So when you got a team like that, they smile and they come they come ready to work. We have a meeting prior to the show each and every week, and we talk about the different topics that we're going to talk about. And if there's something that we miss, then we go back and add that to the show. So I think seeing the gleam in their eyes and the smile and the fact that I guess what you might say, they are on the same page that I am, certainly on the same page that I am.
If you'd like to hear more tales of Rickie Clark's life, from his days with Indianapolis Police Department to tag teaming weather reports with David Letterman, you'll want to listen to his story on the BE&O Extended Conversation, part of the All Indiana Podcast Network. Clark's weekly Diversity in Focus podcast is also on the network. Good listening to be had there. If you'd like to know more about any of the segments in today's show, follow the QR code to our website. Thank you for spending this hour with us, and join us next week for more business equity and opportunities. Till then, I'm Scott Sander. Have a great day.
Business Equity and Opportunities is made possible by Bose McKinney & Evans, Eskenazi Health, Indy Biz Pass, Indy Chamber, and Lilly, a medicine company.